When you picture a mechanic, you probably see grease-stained hands, tools everywhere, and long days spent under a car lift. It's honest work, tough work. But a straight line to becoming a millionaire? Most people would just laugh at that idea. Yet, some mechanics have cracked a pattern that almost no one talks about. It tests a simple shift in mindset and strategy that turns a skilled trade into a real path to wealth. Take Tommy Mello. He started out buried in $50,000 of debt. Today, his home service company brings in over $200 million a year. This isn't about luck. It's a blueprint. And in this video, we're going to lay it all out piece by piece. If you work in a shop, you know the rhythm. You're great at what you do. You can spot a bad bearing just by listening to it. You can tear down an engine without even breaking your stride. Your customers love you. And yet, your income pretty much stays in the same range year after year. So why is that? It's because you're stuck in a classic trap, trading your hours for dollars. The job is physically demanding. The days start to blur together. And that income ceiling feels incredibly low, even if you're the best technician in the building. Everybody tells you that's just how the trades work. Good money? Sure. But real freedom? That's for the tech brothers and the Wall Street bankers, right? That belief right there is the trap. It keeps talented, skilled people locked in the service bay instead of stepping back to look at the business itself. The mechanics who break out of this cycle stop seeing themselves as technicians who happen to own a shop. They start seeing themselves as business owners who are building a system, and that one simple shift changes everything. Before they found their success, today's mechanic millionaires lived that exact same grind. Tommy Mello, the guy I mentioned earlier, started with a single garage door business, a roommate, and a huge pile of debt. By 2010, the business was completely falling apart. He gave his partner a choice: either walk away or let Tommy take full control. The partner walked. Tommy had to call his parents for help and did everything he possibly could just to keep the lights on. He was the hardest worker in the company, but he wasn't a real owner yet. Then there's Luke Walker. He began his journey in a tiny one-bay shop. His lift barely worked. He knew how to fix cars, but he had absolutely no idea how to run a business. When business coaches told him his shop should be a $2 million operation, he thought they were crazy. He couldn't even picture that kind of scale because his mindset kept him boxed in. And Greg Hewlett spent years working out of a 1985 Chevy service truck with his dog sitting right next to him. Some weeks he couldn't even afford to buy dog food. He found himself begging customers to pay their invoices so he could just survive. His entire strategy was just to be cheaper than the competition. But being cheaper only pushed him closer and closer to burnout. These stories are so important because they show the bottom. They show the frustration, the exhaustion, and that critical moment when each one of them realized the real problem wasn't the work. It was the way they were thinking about the work. So how did they turn it all around? It wasn't with tricks or some overnight magic. It was a 4-step blueprint that any skilled technician can follow. Step 1 is to shift the mindset. This is the spark that lights the fire. Luke realized his biggest limitations were all in his own head. Greg realized that cheaper wasn't a strategy, better was. The mechanics who grow their businesses stop seeing themselves as the main technician. They start seeing themselves as the builder of a machine, a business that can run smoothly whether or not their hands are on the tools. Their focus moves from closing today's ticket to hitting next year's goals. Step 2 is to build systems. Once the mindset changes, the real work begins. Millionaire mechanics write everything down: how the phone gets answered, how a customer is greeted at the door, how vehicle inspections are performed, how parts get ordered, how quality is checked. Every single step becomes a repeatable system. Greg scaled his business by bringing as much work in-house as possible. The more control he had, the better the results and the higher his profit margins. Systems turn chaos into something predictable. And what's predictable becomes scalable. Step 3 is to master marketing and sales. Most shops just cross their fingers and hope for good word-of-mouth referrals. But millionaire owners don't wait for business to come to them. They build pipelines to attract it. Tommy Mello became completely obsessed with marketing. He didn't just casually read a few articles. He devoured thousands of books and studied relentlessly. The best shops lean into local SEO, create content that builds trust, and track exactly what their customers need most. They stop competing on price and start competing on value, better service, a better customer experience, clearer communication. When you sell the value, not the discount, you build the margins you need to grow. And finally, step 4, build the team and the culture. This is the step that separates the good shops from the great ones. The owners who scale their businesses to massive success hire people who are smarter than they are. They set up training programs. They create real incentives for their team. They build clear paths for employees to grow sometimes, even paths to ownership. Tommy built leaders inside his company. Luke built a shop where people feel supported and ambitious. Greg built a team that could deliver quality work at scale. You stop being the lead technician, you start being the coach. Knowing this blueprint is one thing, but actually applying it is the real climb. People like Tommy Mello are now sharing their exact playbooks through books, tools, and even full programs. If this video feels like a spark for you, resources like his book, Home Service Millionaire, can help you break through to the next level. So what happens when someone actually follows this blueprint? Let's look at the results. Tommy Mello went from $50,000 in debt to a company with over 1,000 employees across 19 states, generating more than $200 million in revenue. He went from being a stressed-out technician to a billionaire builder. Luke Walker now runs the largest single-location auto repair shop in the entire country. Some months, his shop brings in over $1 million. On a Monday, it's not uncommon to have 70 cars waiting for service before the doors even open. And Greg Hewlett? He went from struggling to buy dog food to owning a company worth nearly $20 million with strong, healthy profit margins. Now, he spends his time at his beach house with his boat waiting for him in the Virgin Islands. And they aren't alone. Others have followed similar paths. There's Sandra, a woman who built a shop worth over $1 million in a male-dominated field. And Joseph Puzzer, who took his dad's struggling truck repair business from just $30,000 a year to over $1 million by applying these same systems. These aren't just outliers. They are clear examples of what happens when incredible skill meets a solid structure. The secret to becoming a millionaire mechanic isn't really a secret at all. It's a decision. It's a decision to stop being just a mechanic and to start being a business owner. It takes guts. It takes humility. And it takes a willingness to learn all the things you never touched in trade school like marketing, leadership, finance, and systems. But the opportunity has never been bigger than it is right now. Cars are staying on the road longer than ever before. Skilled trades are in high demand. The market is wide open for people who are willing to think bigger. The blueprint is right here in front of you. The tools are already in your hands. The only question left is a simple one. Are you ready to build something bigger? Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and follow for more amazing stories.